from another planet? Is Janet 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 from another planet?
We live in a complicated world, and I believe we, the people, have the right to know what's happening in our towns, cities, and states. The mainstream media does not have our best interest at heart, and I want to share some information from around our great nation so we can fight back by being informed. Join me each week as we go after hours and get behind the scenes to uncover the truth.
Today's digital landscape with the spread of false information can lead to dangerous outcomes. It's crucial for everyone to think critically and verify sources and reflect on the impact of what they share. Let's promote responsible communication to ensure that truth prevails and actions remain rooted in reality.
The opinions you're about to hear on this show are strictly those of the panel.
The following program is rated TV MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to After Hours, and we're going to be talking about men's mental health tonight. I had a friend of mine that sent me a video, which is you see on the screen beside me, and it was pretty interesting, and it started making me think about all my friends that I know that are in the military that have had problems with PTSD and other issues, but also the rise in all the problems that we're seeing with these young shooters and school shootings, things like that, where they come from families without a father in the home, or they're from families that have a lot of alcohol and drugs going on. Just tons of different things that are affecting people since I've been noticing a rise in it from the whole thing after COVID. And I want to introduce the young man that told me about this video, and I invited him to join me on the show tonight so we could talk about this huge thing that's affecting our men in our country today, and how men shouldn't be afraid to get help with whoever they need, their friends, family, doctors, psychiatrists, or whatever. But thank you, Crafty Gamer, for joining me this evening. I really appreciate you.
Sorry about not responding and like being thankfully not late, but a little late.
That's okay.
I had to go to town for important reasons, nothing that's important to the show, but important to me, and I forgot my cell phone.
Oh, but that's okay. That's okay. But the thing is, you're here now, and so before we start talking,
Oh, go ahead.
I want you to explain why you were so interested in this topic and that you wanted me to see this video.
Well, being a man, have to deal with a lot of things that you and I have discussed off camera before that you admitted you didn't realize men have had to deal with. And I have known some of the stuff women have had to deal with, but with that said, it's my mother being a tomboy. I haven't had to hear it, for lack of a better term, firsthand like you. It's like, ooh, that does sound pretty bad. Okay, getting a little bit more of a better idea, which is why I do want to warn the women here. This guy sounds very misogynist, but that's just because he's absolutely sick and tired of the women who don't care about men. If he met Janet, he would initially be standoffish, but when he realized that Janet has just had bad experiences, but is willing to accept that that's not every man, he would open up to her. I am confident in this. But
well, see, that I feel the same way. I feel the same way, though, about women. There's a lot of burned women, but they don't blame all men for their problems. But it's really hard to meet good men that want a good woman, you know what I mean? And going to these apps to look for another, person to fill the needs that you need is not a good idea. I'm hoping that with all the things that's been going on in our country, at least, we'll start getting back into where you want to go on a date, but you go somewhere to meet women, like to the bowling alley, to a bar again, to restaurants, and, through your job, through community service work, or through church, things like that. I'm hoping we'll start seeing a pickup on that. And that women will start saying, hey, if the guy says, hey, let's just go have coffee, or let's go to the Cheesecake Factory, or just to go have tacos at a small little local restaurant, that means that they respect you and don't think they have to pour, a bunch of money into taking you out on the first date because they're hoping to get lucky. You know what I'm saying? So meet and get to know each other before the other stuff starts falling in, because I think that will make a huge difference in whether or not you will have a good relationship.
Yes, I agree. And back to the mental, because this does kind of play into the mental health, because like women, a lot of women will love to say, especially feminists, there's a male loneliness epidemic, which is part of the reason why men have issues with their mental health, because yes, to a degree there is, but as I'm sure Janet has seen, and actually I know for a fact she has because she's talked about it, there are plenty of women that'll just make guys go, yeah, no, it's not worth it. And this video talks about not only that in a direct sense, but also in an indirect sense, because he talks about how Twitter shut down a discussion referring specifically to men's health, and not just like men's general health, but like, why are men committing suicide? Why are men giving up on society? Well, Twitter was like, no, you can't have that discussion. And I personally, as someone,
it wasn't Twitter, it was TikTok.
Right, not Twitter. Yeah. Right, you're right.
Okay.
I should get that correct because they are two totally different platforms. Even though they're not, they are. It's weird. At any rate, I personally have been affected by this in the fact that when I was a kid, I was very much raised what this guy preaches, which is most boys were raised men are bad. And I actually, for many years, wanted to have a sex change. I even committed suicide because I couldn't afford a sex change. It took me years to crawl my ass out of that position where just because I was born a man does not mean I'm automatically born evil, therefore I should not hate myself. He is one of the few voices that I feel is, I listen to admittedly a few people who like harp on that mindset. He is one of the few that's also reasonable about it. Because some of them that I listen to, admittedly, I can only take so much because they just women. He will sit there and sound like he's blaming women, but that's because he is aiming this at the ones that are deserving of it. The moment he sees a woman who, like Janet, he will immediately go, that is a good woman. This is what you need to look out for, Janet. And this video, in this case, doesn't so much go into the relationship part, but does go into how the social media has decided that men's mental health not only doesn't matter, talking about it hurts other people. Talking about how men want to commit suicide because society treats them so badly is hurting other people in society.
Yeah, I'm sharing the link to this YouTube video in the chat. I'm going to put it up on the screen so you guys can go and look at it, because I can't play it because I'll get a copyright strike, and I already have 2 strikes against my channel right now. But the thing is,
actually,
is that,
what you can do, Janet, I know you feel like it's a bit risky. What you can do, play it, listen to them for about no more than 5 minutes. Pause it for about 30 seconds, and while you and I make comments.
I tried that a couple of times, but they still attack me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it without sound with the stuff in the background, just so you can see how he talks and some of the things that he says with the captions. But what I did was I pulled up his video, and see here at the bottom, all the stuff he has written, because his channel is called Men Need to Be Heard. And I agree on that. I'm a huge military brat. I'm a tomboy. I hung out with my dad. I did tons of things with my dad. And I can tell you right now, a guy that's a man that likes to do manly things, camping, biking, all those things, it's awesome. But not all men are into that kind of stuff. Some men like golf, other men like football, some men like to ride bikes, some men are into playing Dungeons and Dragons like I am. So there's tons of men out there, but guess what? We're all individuals, just like there are women. I hate cooking. I hate baking, but I love working in the yard. So to me, that's not very feminine. A lot of men might not like that. And, I would much rather, just wear slouchy clothes and have my hair in a ponytail. But I like to dress up and wear jewelry and, put makeup on and fix my hair, but not every single day and not all the time. So all of us are different. And if everyone would judge each person by what they are, and what they have available they're putting out, we would all be better off. But a person looks at something, okay, I'll just use this as an example, your phone, and you swipe left or swipe right, depending on what's in a person's profile. That's not a person, okay? That's just pictures and a few letters and words. You don't get chemistry from looking at pictures, right? That's why one thing that I can tell you about that I feel that porn is really hurt. I've done a few shows about whether sex dolls are bad for you, things like that. But when a man looks at porn all the time, it desensitizes him to a real woman. Because if I go in and I'm wearing frumpy clothes, I have my hair just messy and I'm not wearing makeup, he's just gonna not even give me a second look. But if I come in with a bustier and a short mini skirt and high heels, the guy's gonna look. But is that the kind of guy you want? Do you want a guy that only wants you because of your boobs and your ass? Don't you want someone you can talk to, that wants to hold hands and listen to romantic music and dance with you in the kitchen, things like that? And I'm sure there's a man out there that wants a woman that wants to dance in the kitchen and that would love it if he picked flowers on the side of the road and brought them to her, things like that. And we have to start, both males and females need to start looking at what is it you want in the long term for a relationship. I want a real man. I mean, I met half the guys I talk to right now on YouTube through going to see Nick Weiser, his Toxic Masculinity Tuesdays, right? So it just depends on what you're looking for, because guess what? Sooner or later, you're going to end up getting it. If you want a guy that rides a motorcycle, smokes, and treats you like shit, that's what you're going to get. And all you got to do is go to YouTube and look at all these videos of all these people getting divorced spying on their spouse because their spouse is cheating with someone else because they're on Tinder where you met them. You know what I mean? So that's why I think when you brought me this video and I got to go watch it, I wish I looked everywhere trying to find anything on some other channel, you know, snippets or whatever of him to play so I wouldn't get in trouble. But with 2 strikes against my channel, I can't risk it. But what I am going to do is this. I'm going to read this first, and then I'm going to push play, and we can talk while he's doing it with the captions on.
Yeah.
And then we'll pause it every so often because I want you guys to be able to read the captions while we discuss what he's talking about. But basically, what happens is I've had this happen to me on TikTok, just streaming our games. You know, our games that you and I are in.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, Bruce might say a few things once in a while, and it has nothing to do with real people. It's the game. It's about characters in our game. But TikTok has stopped me and took it down, saying that it was offensive, it was a racist or whatever, anything, you know, because somebody that happened to go by and see the video and listen to a couple words reports it. So you just have to have 1 or 2 people report this gentleman doing a live stream on TikTok talking about something, and it hurts one of the women's feelings, especially if she's leaning to the left, you know, and she reports it, they'll take it down. But the thing is, later on, they'll come back and say, well, maybe we were too harsh. We were reinstating you. But the thing is, the damage is already done because the people that needed to see it that night while it was live didn't get to see it. So I hardly ever stream on TikTok anymore, simply because it's just not worth it. It takes a lot of work to go live. You got to set up so much stuff. You got to put, you know, you got to do a lot of stuff, get prepared for it. And then you go live and then you're told big fuck you, basically, because somebody doesn't approve with a few things that you're saying. Unlike TV, okay, TikTok can just turn it off. Okay. But when you're watching television, you come to a channel, some show that you don't want. What do? You change the channel, right? So if a person's on YouTube and they're going through the videos, a short, you swipe. You keep swiping until you find a video you want. But those are shorts. Now, if I'm looking for something specific to watch as a documentary or whatever on X, I just keep going through it till I find one I like and listen for a few minutes. If it's not what I want, I go to the next one. I don't report it or put nasty comments that, oh, I don't like what you guys are talking about, you male chauvinist pigs, you know, stuff like that. But I see it all the time. I even get it. I even get hate simply because people don't like what I'm talking about in my videos, which is fine. They can just move on, but they don't. These people just want to harass. You know why? Because they're sitting their fat asses at home with nobody to hold their hand, simply because they treat everyone this way. It's not just us, it's everyone, and they're going to be alone forever. And I'm very vocal about my opinion. As you know, you've played games with me. But the thing is, there are good people out there. But if we don't go out and try to meet them, how are we going to meet them? You know what I mean? So I wanted to read this real quick. It says, if somebody you know is having a hard time, please reach out for help today. You are not alone. He has a number here. It says call or text, and he has a couple different numbers here. And then it says it's free and it's confidential. It's open 24 hours a day. So with the link that I shared a minute ago, I'm going to share it a couple more times. Write it down. Go here. Go to this thing. It's called Men Need to Be Heard on YouTube. And then you can get all the information you want to be able to listen to this guy yourself and make your own opinion. Okay. Don't just turn him off simply because somebody on TikTok didn't happen to like it. So I liked it. I thought he was very, very, very believable about the way he spoke, about what he believes in, about men should be able to be men. And there's nothing wrong with a man asking for help. If he's depressed, or if he's he just got out of a bad relationship, or somebody died in his family. Even if his dog died, I've cried over my dogs. People need somebody to talk to and someone to listen to you. And I made a bunch of notes on the side, which I'll bring up later. But it says, we discuss why so many men struggle in silence, why the current system often fails to reach them, and why Men's Health Awareness Month deserves far more attention than it receives. We talked about the reality of over 100 men a day lose their lives to suicide, a statistic that should be a national emergency. I 100% agree with that. People cry more about turtles' eggs being taken, or eagles' eggs being taken, or dogs and cats than they do about people. It's really sad. People die every day, and many, many people commit suicide every day. We should be wanting to help people and reach out for these people instead of crying and whining that someone's, took their dog to the shelter or whatever. But it says, for that, TikTok shut down our live stream, claiming the discussion contained inappropriate content that might make someone uncomfortable. Can you believe this shit? It's pitiful. Yeah. Pitiful. Think about that. A respectful, expert-led conversation about saving men's lives was considered too uncomfortable to allow. That's happened to me on Spaces, where I tried to talk about, child trafficking or some other things. And there was a woman one morning, she goes, I'm trying to drink my coffee and you're talking about this stuff. It makes me just not want to stay in here. And I said, well, how do you think these kids feel? I was so pissed off. But it's sad that people are so self-centered and selfish that instead of letting you and me and other people enjoy the content, they want to stop it so nobody can get it because they're selfish and self-centered. That's really sad. It says, when silence is chosen over compassion, it becomes negligence. If we are serious about improving men's mental health, we have to be willing to have the hard conversations, even and especially when they make people uncomfortable. Hear, hear. Yeah, I like this guy. I really do. But he says he's calling out TikTok's decision and the media's near total silence during June. Because June last month, it's July now, but last month was Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And it's sad. I wish I'd known about this before. I would have done something for that. But see, because of Crafting Gamer telling me about this, now I know. So hopefully next year in June, I can do something each week for men's mental health. I would love to do that. And you could probably do it with me if you want. But that's basically what this video is, what he's talking about. And I wish I could play it. If it wasn't on YouTube, I would. If it was on Rumble or somewhere else, I'd play the video. But I don't want to get in trouble. But I'm going to push play because I think I have it silenced and I have captions on. Yeah, here we go. It's sad to say that, but he was really upset.
Yeah. I don't blame him. I mean, you could tell from the way that he talks, he personally has not, he has struggled with some of the stuff we talked about, but this specifically is not a subject he himself has had to struggle with. But he has either known people or has known people who have known people. It's not too far off of his level of experience. It's not something, I don't feel he's ever had suicidal thoughts, but he knows people that either have or have actually gone through with it.
Yeah, and most of us do. Most of us do. Most of us have had someone in our life that have struggled with something, with either alcohol, drugs, depression, all kinds of things. And it could have been your uncle or your father, could have been your grandparent or your brother. You know what I mean? So it happens to a lot of people. But the thing is that now that we do know about it, I'm going to share it. I just think that this is real important. And I wish more people could actually, go and watch his video, because it really is sad that TikTok is what I'm seeing nowadays. I'm gonna pause them for a second. What I'm seeing on TikTok is basically ads. So
Yeah.
they've gotten to where if you get to have 10,000 people, which I have over 10,000, and all I get are little things saying that they'll pay me this much or whatever if I promote this product or whatever, and they want you to do specific things in the little videos that you make, showing, oh, see this, blah blah blah, it works really well, blah blah blah, and talk about it, right? And it's almost like the whole TikTok is becoming a giant infomercial. Like that TV years ago, there used to be people with vacuum cleaners and cleaning supplies and all that. And that's all you see now. It's very rare where you see all these women putting on makeup or hair or doing all this different stuff. And that's almost all that you see on TikTok now. And then you see a few live streams and it's a bunch of people just sitting around just like, yeah, what's going on? Yeah. Yeah, I tried that. And that's it. It's just a bunch. It's like The View on steroids. That's what TikTok is turning into. Because when I first started, that's what I was doing. I was making, goofy videos, all kinds of videos. And I did promos for our reviews and things like that. But now it's like, all they want you to do is get on there and make ads to sell stuff, products, cleaning supplies, things for your car, gadgets and makeup and jewelry, that kind of stuff. But a guy gets on there to help people in a live stream, to help men realize that they're not alone and that they can get help. They can get someone to help them through their problem. But you have to be able to find out what your problem is. You may think it's one thing, but if you got to talk to a professional, you might find out that's not even it. It's this other thing that's really your problem. But you don't know that when you're depressed. You can't think clearly because you're not sleeping or you're not eating right. There's lots of different things like that. But what did you get from this video when you got to watch him?
Well, I know a lot of people would say this, could potentially say this in a very ironic way. I mean this in genuinely unironically. Mm-hmm. This video touched me. I mean, I'm already past the point of I hate myself because I'm a man. But the fact that he is like, TikTok is not letting him talk about this. And he doesn't say it in this video, but he talks about it in a live stream I watched not that long ago. Even Twitch didn't restrict it, but it definitely didn't go as far as his videos normally do. They just didn't push it. And normally his videos get tens of thousands of views on Twitch. It got less than 5,000, I think he said. Mm-hmm. So even though Twitch didn't ban him or anything like that, they just silently blocked the video. Yeah,
with algorithms.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So this video actually touched me personally because it's like, that is shit I have struggled with my entire life, and I want people to not only know more, but I want people to know when sites are not letting that shit be talked about, because it's bad.
Yeah, it is.
If anybody, man, woman, alien, were to come up here and say, we need to do something about women's mental health, too many of them are committing suicide, not only would that go gangbusters, it would probably hit the main media.
Yeah,
which is actually not a bad thing, because I watch Shoe on Head. A few people here probably know her. Mm-hmm. And I have checked the statistics behind her. Suicide rates for women are also up, basically for the same reason. Biggest difference is what women love to tell themselves, which is an outright lie. Men have a better social network. In truth, men have a small social network, which means unless they are really, really good friends with whomever they are with, they are not going to see the signs. Women have an incredibly large social network, which involves just naturally people who are going to notice those signs. Mm-hmm. Yes, the men's social network is usually tighter knit, but the women have greater opportunity to be noticed.
Well, it's because from early age, girls are more social. You know what I mean? We will talk to other
Yeah,
girls
actually,
about,
I do.
I like your clothes, or I like your makeup. I like the way you're wearing your hair. What's your favorite food? You know, all that. Guys are like, bro, did you see, what do you think of the game the other day? See, they hardly talk about their own selves. They don't talk about their
Yeah.
clothes. Guys don't say, wow, check out these boots. You know, they just don't do that. So that's from very young age. You know what I mean? They might,
Yeah.
your friend might show up and say, hey, I got some cool baseball cards, or I got this, that, and the other. And it's still not about themselves. It's still about an item that they have that they want to share with someone else. Or do you want to come out and play basketball? You know, things like that. So
that's something that I can actually say as a guy is not entirely raised, because as a dude, I like keeping the case to myself, but I also like showing them off to a degree. You've seen that with what I should put in chat.
Yeah.
But like you say, I don't show off much about what I wear or about me personally. It's what I've done. It's my achievements.
Mm-hmm.
And that is partially being raised because most men are taught that your value, hence part of the reason why we have such a bad mental state now, your value comes from what you can provide. Well, as you know, Janet, and I don't mean this in any insulting way, a lot of women don't actually need a man to provide for them anymore, which leads to two huge dynamics that I have seen online. One, which has led a lot of men to feeling as if they no longer have a purpose. And two, when women try to give them that purpose, they do it in the absolute most insulting way possible. Yes, I have money. Spend all your money on me so I can have all my money.
Yep. I see it
Most
all the
guys,
time.
yeah, most guys, what I think is most hilarious, I think it's a different video, but he even brings it up. Most men, if a woman is making more money than him or whatever, or makes her own money, but doesn't spend it on him, as long as she's not sitting there demanding everything gets spent on her, he's just naturally going to spend more money on her than he is himself. That's literally in the male nature. But when you start sitting there demanding all of his money, he's I mean, at that point, what woman wouldn't walk away, honestly? If a man just came up to you and said, the only thing I want out of you is the fact you're a billion-dollar woman, would you not just walk away too?
I would. Just like I said earlier, I want someone who looks me in the eye and can have conversations with me about real life events, right? Have fun together, like enjoy similar movies, like some of the same things, activities outdoors or indoors, you know, that type of stuff. Someone I can be friends with. I mean, I know that sounds really, a lot of people think that sounds so stupid, and they always have made fun of me for that since I was a kid.
What I think is hilarious about that, what I think is hilarious, when we go back to Shoe on Head, she's talked to several people like in my position. Mm-hmm. We basically just agree with you. Yes, we want a loving partner, but we also want a friend. We don't want someone who's just going to sit there and tell us, oh, how great we are, and tell us how like that's a, I don't know what that is. I mean, it has a name, but I don't know what it is. You get what I'm saying? That's not a friend though. What we want is a loving partner who is not only going to tell us what we want to hear, but is also going to tell us what we need to hear. Which means, yeah, sometimes we need to hear, it's okay, you look good. But there are also times men and women need to be told, don't do that. That's an incredibly bad or straight up stupid idea. Mm-hmm. And that's where a friend
would do that. See, that's the difference. If you met a girl, let's say you went to a gaming place, okay, to look at different stuff that you might have because you're going to run a game, right? A DD game. So you wanted maybe a new grid pattern to put on the table, and maybe a few more characters, or you know, who knows. And you happen to meet this girl, and she's like, wow, you're doing this, and you start talking about the gaming stuff, and that's what first gets you guys to talking. Then you start talking over the phone, and maybe you meet somewhere, have coffee or whatever, and you're talking about strategic things you're going to do in your games, because she's running a game and you're running a game, not in the same game, but you know, you guys are talking about it. So you have something in common, and then it grows from there. Why? Because it takes two people to have a conversation. One person is sitting there doing all the talking, the other one just going, you see what I mean? You're pushing the other one out. So if the person doesn't give you room to come into the conversation, then you need to run because you're never going to get in. There's lots of different things there if you're looking. Okay, so if you're really interested in having something, you need to be looking for signs whether or not it's going to work or not. See what I mean? So it takes two people to make a relationship. You see what I mean?
100%.
So even in the bedroom, if you're just laying there while the other one does everything, that's not a sexual relationship either. That's like boring, you know what I mean, type of thing. So it takes two to tango, like people always said. But the thing is that it really is a problem because people wait so long to they give up. They don't ask for help anymore. They stop reaching out. They stop talking. Just like what Bruce and I did a while back when Six Nations wasn't doing well, right? He was sickly, but we didn't know. And we just kept saying, has anybody heard from him? Has anybody heard from him? And the only reason we were asking is because we missed him. We hadn't heard from him. We didn't know where he was. And we were worried. But that's what friendships are. When you have a friend and you see him every week, and then 2 weeks goes by and you go, God, I haven't heard from him. I'm really getting worried about him. Hope he's all right, because he could have been in a car accident. We don't know. It's just no way to find out. And that's why a good group of people where you have more than one or two people, and you may not all be really close, but you're all interacting, someone is going to be able to find a way to get a hold of that person sooner or later if you constantly hound, right? Then you can start asking, especially if they sound like, I'm just not having a good time. I'm really having a hard time. I'm not sleeping well. I'm not eating enough. I need to exercise. All these different things is a sign to say, hey, do you want my number? You can give me a call so we can just start talking on the phone a little bit or whatever. So you have somebody listening to you. Mm-hmm. Because if you can stop that person from maybe, taking some pills or doing something to themselves simply because they've given up, you've made a difference. Okay. I'm not saying you fix them because you're not a doctor. Okay. You can't fix them. But if you can start getting them to listen to what you're saying, maybe you can be the one person to say, I'm really going to miss you if you leave because I really enjoy our conversations, or I really like playing DD with you, or whatever your relationship is, that you can get that person to actually contact someone else. Just like this gentleman right here on his YouTube channel, he has all the 800 numbers, all kinds of information on there for the people who need someone for whatever the reason is.
And ladies, if you, I don't think this is a cure depression in a direct sense, but if you feel your man needs a real confident boost, go someplace, not necessarily dangerous, but go someplace where you're not 100% safe, and then literally tell him that you feel protected around him. Mm-hmm. That will boost his confidence heavily.
Yeah, that's a good one. Or you can even
mean it though, because there's a lot of men who will just detect if you are lying to him.
Well, the thing is, the best thing I can think of as a woman that I would do personally is if I'm with that person and I'm actually getting to be in the same room with them, and I can tell that they just need a hug, right? Or a kiss. Give them a hug or a kiss, or just go say, would you like me to make you a sandwich? Or are you thirsty? Are you hungry? Do something nice.
There's a meme that's been popping around in some of the more adulterized, probably not the best way of putting it, more adult discords I see, especially last month, but during Men's Mental Health Month is when I see it the most. This last year, since when I really started seeing it, it's just a woman saying, "Dude," because it's obviously a male, and she's standing across from me. She's like, "Dude, are you all right?" And then she pulls up her shirt and goes, "Boobs. Do you want to touch boobs?" Like it's not necessarily that simple with every guy, but that is overall what can be like the basic idea. Just a simple little gesture, a simple little thing of kindness, and a lot of men will just it'll brighten their day, if not week. Like to this day, I am 35, and back when I received a compliment at 15, I still remember that compliment.
Mhm.
It's also the only compliment I've ever been given outside of my blood. And another sad statistic, which adds to this right here. Did you know most men never receive one flower in their entire life on their funeral?
It's too late then.
Uh-huh.
Well, I can tell you right now, I made cookies for a few people and they didn't like them. They were terrible. I'm terrible. I am a terrible, terrible cook. I even made one time, I made with one of my other sisters, because I have 4 of them. We made a pie. We wanted to make our a real apple pie. But the thing is, we didn't know we had to cook the apples first and then put them in the pie and then bake it. So we kept baking it and baking it and baking it, trying to get the apples done. And by the time we were done, the crust was so hard that you could cut it and you could have put a hole in the door with the crust because it was so hard to get the apples done. So I never made another pie since. If I'm going to have someone wants a pie, I go buy one. But the thing is, I tried, I wanted to try to do something, but that's the thing. I saw on X, I made a lot of comments on this, but it's truthful. A man posted a picture of, he said, I can't believe that she made this for me. But he said it to me, it sounded like it was a diss. And it was a picture, and it had corn laying on there, and 2 pieces of chicken, like 2 chicken legs, but they didn't look like they were quite finished. And I think there was some like French fries or something laying next to that, and that's what it was. And then it said, "Would you serve somebody this?" Something like that. And yeah, it did look like it wasn't finished, like the meat wasn't ready to eat. But I wrote on there, she made an effort to cook for you while because you worked all day, and she was probably, I don't know the situation, but she was probably taking care of the kids or cleaning house, whatever. And she tried to cook you a meal, and she put it in front of you.
Quick pause.
Right?
Could you back to the office a little bit and pause?
Hold on. Let me go back just a little bit. Tell me when.
A little bit more. Perfect.
Right here?
Yep.
Let me pause it. Okay, but
I
just wrote on there that she made the effort for you. If you came home and she didn't make any dinner for you, then you should be really upset with her. This is what I told him to do. I said, if you come home and your woman cooked you a meal, but it wasn't quite done, or let's say it was too salty or whatever, it was really bad, it was not something you enjoyed, this is what you do. You say, can I show you something? And you take her into the kitchen and you say, I want to help you so you won't make this mistake next time. And I want to help you cook this meal. And then you make a meal with her and you show her, because just like me, I was a teenager and I wasn't a good cook or any of those things when I got married. And man, I sucked. I sucked at cooking. So I was lucky to have somebody that knew how to cook on the grill and knew how to do a lot of things. And they just said, I'll show you how to do it. Now I'm better. I can make beef jerky. I can make a lot more things. But I had somebody that helped me instead of belittling me and telling me that my food sucked and that I was a shitty cook. Right? That hurts, especially if someone's making an effort for you. Try to be nice about it. Whether he made you something or she made you something, the other person needs to acknowledge that they made the effort because they love you and they cared about you. It's just that they're not very good at it. So why don't you help them get better at it?
Well, I would give him maybe. It kind of depends, because I've seen this before in both directions. Mm-hmm. If it is like they have been together for a while and now all of a sudden she's cooking like shit, okay, you need to get out of the relationship now, dude, or otherwise you're going to get poisoned. But if that is early in the relationship, I'm 100% with you. Chances are she just doesn't know how and she needs more practice. But this is actually what I wanted to stop here for.
This part right here.
His little caption is actually perfect. June being Pride Month. How many social media posts? How many?
It's probably a lot. So let's see.
Because that's part of what's happening with Men's Mental Health Month. They've turned it into Pride Month, and they love saying, oh, if you care about men's mental health, then you don't care about pride. And if you don't care about pride, well,
but see,
they love saying that because you care about one issue that's happening like in the same month, you obviously don't care about their issue. Oh, I'm sorry. Aren't there proud men out there, like gay men? Do they not? Oh, right. They're gay, so they don't count. Their mental issues are fine. If you're a cis man, especially, I hate putting it this way, but it is what you see the lot of. A cis white man, your mental health not only doesn't matter, you should just go kill yourself because you are literally the systemic problem of all of society.
I know, and that's
wish I was not paraphrasing. I genuinely wish I wasn't paraphrasing. I'm not even paraphrasing. I'm actually copying word for word in a couple cases.
I think it's sad that they've done that. But the thing is, when you fill a month and almost have every single day in 1 month filled with something, you know, this day, that day, another day, whatever day, you know what I mean? It makes nothing worth anything. There should be one or maybe two holidays that people should look at a month, period. Because like your birthday.
I don't even think we should have monthly holidays.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying though, we already have some on there, but like your birthday. Okay, your birthday's coming up, and if you had, let's say you have a party at school, right? And your mom makes cupcakes for the class and everything, but then you go to school and you find out that the teacher's not letting it be your birthday; she's going to let it for everyone. Even though your mom made the cupcakes, you go there and then she's passing it and saying happy birthday to everyone in the class in case we missed your birthday. See, it belittles your birthday because now you've jumbled it up with everyone else. And that's what I understand about the month of June being Men's Mental Health Month. And same thing with Father's Day. You know, Mother's Day is important, but so is Father's Day. Every household needs a father, just like they need a mother, because you don't have life without a mom or a dad, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, I dare say,
dad should be involved.
Do you let me finish? And then I think I'll understand when I say this. In many ways, I believe Father's Day is actually more important than Mother's Day, but not because mothers are less important. If anything, I think mothers shouldn't necessarily be like celebrated every day Mother's Day style, but there should be a cultural shift to remind women that being a mother is not just a good thing, it's something we appreciate as a whole. Where Father's Day, and yes, we should kind of do the same for men, but most men would also get very sick of that very quickly. As a man, I would, Happy Father's Day. You said that to me 3 days in a row now. Please shut up.
Yeah.
So as a single holiday, I feel it's more important than Mother's Day. But on the same hand, I believe that we should still have Mother's Day, but have just not what a lot of feminists think we should. But I believe that just little things. Hey, Mom, we still genuinely appreciate you being, or like single the house taker. That's a lot of men and women. We appreciate the housekeeper, the one who takes care of the kids, feeds the family, does all that. Without them, yes, this guy talks about it too. Without men, society would fall. And he also talks about it. Without women, society would also fall. We need to find a good balance of reminding both that you are important. Problem is that, like I said earlier, a lot of them love to say, oh, you care about this one issue. Automatically, you don't care. Oh, you care about Benghazi babies not being saved. Well, that must mean you don't care about Jews killing themselves in England. What?
I know, it's ridiculous. But you can't have one without the other. None of us would be here if it wasn't for a man and a woman. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And when
they're trying to do away with that with artificial wombs too.
Is is the fact that when God created Adam, right, and he realized that Adam needed a partner because he looked around and he saw all the animals had partners. So he decided when he put Adam to sleep, he took one of Adam's ribs and made Eve. And that's why Eve has one rib more than Adam. But he didn't take a toe bone, right? He took a rib because he's supposed to have the woman walk side by side with the man, because they're partners in life. So that's what I try to tell people.
Yeah, Greek mythology actually has a very similar mythology. I forgot what they're called, but their human's original form was actually a male and female, basically attached 50-50. They could have children as is, but they were basically their life partner. Zeus seen that these things could challenge the gods and said no, separated them all and cursed them to spend their entire lives looking for their other half.
Yep. And most people do that now.
Yep.
Because what I see a lot of is, and it's not just young people, because everyone ages differently in their minds, right? Your body matures, but that doesn't mean you know what to do with it. You might have all these feelings and stuff, but you have no clue what you're supposed to do with it, right? Like me, I was a very late bloomer. But the thing is, once I figured it out, man, you can't stop thinking about it. You know what I mean? All you want is a certain thing, and you do everything to try to get to that goal. To get to the ending part of it, where you have that person with you or whatever. But the thing is, it takes a lot of work sometimes, because of you want to present them with anything or anything like that. It says that you want to feel like, especially if you've been through a bad relationship, you want to make sure that you are you again. I want to look in the mirror and be happy with what I see and not be bitter, so that every time I'm try to start a new relationship, all I do is talk about the bad one. See what I mean?
Yeah.
So that takes work on yourself. And that's what I see a lot of people do. And they're jumping from one relationship to another, and they're blaming the other people they're in the relationship with, when the whole time it's them just talking about the last relationship. That's all they ever talk about. So that bitters the other person, because the other person may never have had a relationship yet, a permanent one, where they got their heart broken or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's different. And that's why to become friends is better, because then you have something to fall back on, because you can't have sex 24 hours a day, even though a lot of people say, oh, I can, whatever. But once that's out of the way, what are you going to do?
Okay, not to make anybody uncomfortable, but I could tell you right now, as someone who has actually been diagnosed with light nymphophobia, having sex 24 hours a day is not nearly as exciting as you think it is. Trust me, after a while, it just becomes a boring chore.
It is to some people, and that's what's sad, is that they look at it.
What I'm referring to is if someone actually tried, like I said, I have that mildly. Yes, I enjoyed the release. But when it literally becomes like, oh, I got to have sex 24 hours a day, and that's the only way I'm going to be with my, intimate, the only way I can be with my partner, otherwise, I can't be with them. Trust me, after a while, that becomes less, oh, that's how I connect, and oh, God, I got to do it again. Because trust me, when once a day, fun. Twice a day, great. Once you start getting close to 5-6 times a day, you're sitting there going, please just let it end.
I'd be in the hospital. That's all I can say. I don't think I could handle anything like that, honestly. But I've never.
I'm saying people who say, "Oh yeah, let's fuck 24 hours a day," like that's what's our relationship beyond. Trust me, it quickly grows boring, and that you will quickly go from sex is fun to sex is chore.
Ask people who are in that industry, how that is, and I don't think it would be healthy either. I mean, you would probably end up having to have some kind of surgery or something. especially a woman.
Most,
You know what I mean?
most sex workers, like in the aspect of like for porn, do
Mhm.
not have normal lives. And I don't just mean that like you would expect. Like, oh yeah, of course they don't. No, it's a little more along the lines of they don't enjoy sex the way we do. In fact, on the camera, unless they are genuine, like fucking insane, they aren't actually usually either only orgasm in the moment or not at all. For
Mhm.
them, the only time they can enjoy sex is when they are with someone they are deeply intimate with. So
Yeah,
the
but
two
when
degree,
you're going through the
here's the
motions, you know what I mean? The
yeah.
actual that kind of stuff, that's like friction, and you
Oh
do
yeah,
the. That's what I'm talking about. That part of
Oh,
it.
okay.
It's gonna be.
I
It's gonna wear
I
you
like to
out.
talk about the emotional
You know,
connection side.
you're gonna get sores and boo boos and bruises and
Oh,
cuts.
then yeah. That well, one of the
That's
things
what
that
I'm
they have
talking
to do
about.
on a regular basis, like I've been,
Yeah.
I don't do
Okay.
research, but one of the things they don't talk about too much, especially like with the OnlyFans trying to get women, you
Mhm.
either have to take frequent breaks or actually use special creams and lubricants because you will be rubbing skin a lot.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the most common, I won't say injuries, but like problems that industry has, basically Indian rug burn of the thighs.
Yeah. But before we go any farther, did you want me to push play on this? Was there something
Oh
you
yeah.
wanted?
I just no, I just wanted to talk about how they're trying desperately to use Pride
Oh
Month to
yeah,
overshadow
and
men's
they
health.
are, but they're doing that with Christmas, with with all the holidays that we remembered when we were little that were
Yep.
real important. Like the 4th of July, and I
Well,
love that
oh
they
yeah.
push the 250th anniversary for our country very hard. Now, it wasn't
Same here.
everyone. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
wasn't all of the stations, because some stations didn't even talk about it. Like, they hate America. I even saw people in New York saying "Down with America" and stuff on the 4th of July. It's pretty sad.
I believe it's free speech, but I do genuinely believe during our nation's holiday, if you badmouth, burn the flag, or something like that, jail. Mandatory 5 years. I don't give a shit.
It's just sad to me. It's just sad that people don't have pride in our country after 250 years. We're the youngest country in the world, basically, and look how powerful we are. But yet we are the devil, or whatever. At least that's how people in America treat us. But when I talk to other people in other countries from like,
well,
stuff,
there's a reason why, as much as I don't like it, there's a reason why immigrants are coming here.
Mm-hmm.
And why, even though some of them will buy the media milk and say, "Oh, my country's better," well, why don't you go back? I gotta go. The moment you say, "Well, why don't you go back home then? If it's so much better than America," well, they quickly clam up and walk away. Thankfully, most of them are not like that. Most of them are like, "Go America." But you still got the occasional ones that drink the media milk. But the moment you suggest they go home, they're like, "Oh." So yeah, you want proof America is better than a lot of different countries? We're fucked up right now. But if you, on top of that, you actually go look at international politics, you're just like, hey, okay, yeah, I think, yeah, I need to fight a little more in America to keep that from happening.
Okay, well, I'm sharing his website again. It's called Men Need to Be Heard. And that's the YouTube show that we were talking about him talking about how TikTok took him down in the middle of their show when they were trying to talk about men's mental health, and about, men committing 100 men a day, basically committing suicide due to multiple reasons, with depression and other problems. But they need to be able to have someone to talk to. And because it's such a hard subject to even let TikTok have it on there, how are you supposed to get men who are in this situation to want to ask for help, when everywhere you go, you're basically told, you're worthless, we don't want to waste our time on you, you're not important, all those different things, when they are. Every
Yeah.
person is important. They should be. If you're a caring person, you really care about people and you say you do, then actions speak louder than words. I know you get sick of me hear me say that, Crafting,
true,
but
though.
I can't help it. But it is true. And my mother used to say that all the time, but she had 5 kids, and it's kind of hard to not listen when you have 5 kids all asking for something. You know, we're hungry or whatever. But I think it's important that people realize that there are real people out here that do care. And if you don't make an effort to try to find those people, like you sharing this video with me, because it upset you when you found out that this gentleman couldn't even do a stream on TikTok for people, because there's millions of people on TikTok. How many million men are on there right now looking, scrolling through TikTok, wanting to find anything that makes him feel like he's alive? You see what I mean? But I can tell you one thing, I wouldn't be looking for it on TikTok.
No.
I hate to say that, but you know what? Since I met the group of people that I've met on YouTube, honestly, even though I have a hard time with YouTube because they don't like my content, they don't like that I talk about a lot of things like child trafficking and politics and religion and stuff like that. They don't like me. Okay. I understand that, but I've met so many wonderful people. I met Clobby and his group of people, and every Saturday I used to spend talking to all these people in the chat about Star Trek. Okay. Then I met Doomcock and Nerdrotic by going to the Inquisition. I loved, you know, and I'd be in the chat and I get to meet so many nice people in the chat, and I'm still friends with lots of them. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because I enjoyed the content. And then Toxic Tuesday on Nick Weiser's channel. Okay. I go to that. I mean, there's just a lot of things that I enjoy on YouTube. And it's sad that YouTube doesn't like me for, you know, past being in a chat or whatever. But I haven't quit. It hasn't made me not want to do it. But the thing is, I'm not a quitter. Okay. I'm a fighter. And I really do care about people. And when I make a friend and they're my friend and they help me out, I'm going to do everything I can to help them if I can, you know, if I have the means. But I just wish more people were the same, you know, that felt the same way. But I found me a good group of friends. But it's not something that falls in your lap. You have to actually listen, look and pay attention and be interactive if you want to find out whether or not they're good people or not. You can't just sit in the back and expect them to do everything and come to you, because a lot of people don't approach other people because they're worried that, oh, they're going to think I'm rude or I'm forward or whatever, you know. So it's good for you to join the group in the chat. And I love chat because you don't have to talk with your own voice. You just type stuff in on the keyboard and then people respond to you. And if they respond over time, you build a rapport with that person. And then you say, hey, let's talk on Discord or in the private chat on X or whatever, wherever it is. And then you move on to a next step in the relationship, right? With your new guy friend that might love Xbox games or whatever it is, or he might like Goat Simulator, want to play that. I mean, you never know, but you won't know anything if you don't try something. And if you know somebody and you notice that there's something not right, ask them, is there anything I can do for you? You know, do you want to just go and hang out in Discord? We can do a video chat, or we can go play a game or something, you know, make an effort, because it could have been you that needed someone. And, you know, to reach out to help other people. But one thing I did do after I watched this video and I realized I wasn't going to be able to play it live, I found a couple of other things that I thought I would share, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I want to share.
I like it.
I want to
Just
share
so you know,
this.
Stephen, me over talking Janet is not going to happen very often.
Sorry.
It's okay. Like I I was raised, wait till someone gives you an opening to talk, but that's not how the internet works.
Yeah, but don't worry about that. Crafting Gamer and I've been friends for almost 5 years, so he's used to me just going on and on. And we play DD together, well, Pathfinder, on every other Saturday. So we spend a lot of time together, and we're on Discord together. And that's how I found out about this video being taken down off of YouTube during his live stream, was because Crafting Gamer told me about it. But the thing is that I think it's important. I think that men should feel comfortable about talking to other men. Hey, man, you're not acting right, or do you need to talk? Do you need some help? That kind of thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And if you've known the person for a while, there's nothing wrong with asking, because all he's going to say is either, yeah, I'm having a hard time, or he's going to say, mind your own business. You see what I mean? But later on, if they did have a problem and they told you to mind your own business, they might come back and say, I really did need to talk, but I just didn't know how to react. You know what I mean? And if also, the other thing is, don't do it in front of a room full of people. Okay. If you feel that there's something not right, wait till you have a chance where you're by yourself and just say, hey, I just noticed that you seem, depressed, or you seem sad, or you just seem out of it, that type of thing, or whatever it is, the terminologies that you might use. But I want to share this one. Hold on, I got to bring it up. You know how I am. I'm really bad about getting the right one.
Yeah.
But this one is really good. It looked good to me. I went through it. Now, I'm a woman, so, just because it looks good to me doesn't mean it's good. But it's something I want you guys to check out, and I'm going to share the link. It says it's man therapy, okay? And it has some really interesting stuff on here. Look at all this. Anger, depression, difficult transitions, substance abuse, thriving relationships and friendships, sleep, anxiety, stress. I mean, it's got a lot of different things on here. And it just seemed like it covered a lot of areas that you and I hadn't even talked about, in Discord. So I wanted to bring this up because it just looked good. And I'm going to share this link in the chat.
The big old chainsaw on the newspaper has got my attention, because even among people who don't gather wood, I don't know too many, actually men or women, unless they absolutely hate it, that just don't find playing with a chainsaw to be therapeutic. Ooh. That's fun.
Yeah. But that one looked really good. And then there was this other one. So let me close this one. All right, let me open this other one real quick. That was man therapy. Oh, here it is. This looked interesting, because I was just looking up things for Men's Mental Health Month. And this was one that came up. It says it's Anxiety and Depression Association of America, because most of the young guys that I've talked to on, on Rumble, on Discord, on my, what's the other one? I can't remember. I got too many of them. I've got 3 or 4 different platforms, and they almost all said the same thing, that it's anxiety. So I don't know whether or not they were diagnosed to have anxiety and that they take something to calm their nerves, or what. I mean, I really don't. But that's what they said. So that's why this popped in. When I saw that, I pulled it up. So it may not be anxiety. Just like I said earlier, you could go to a therapist and find out, it's not really anxiety. It's the fact that you're not getting enough rest, or
well, I don't want to sound like that guy, but it's 100% true. After spending time researching, watching YouTube, listening to you, what you have to go through is it is quite obvious that a lot of things around men's, especially men's mental health, Women's too. Don't get me wrong on that one. Holy shit, what I have seen. At any rate, mental health, but especially men's mental health, has a lot of psyop around it. Oh, well, this is why you are mentally upset. This is why you are depressed. No, I could tell you from literally what I am experiencing, that's not it at all. Unfortunately, like I said, it happens to women too. That's part of the reason why a lot of women end up like being boss bitches and then in their 30s realize, no, that's not what they actually wanted.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a genuine psyop in this country, in a lot of countries actually, but this one too, especially this one, about mental health, men and women's. But men's is worse because they at least try to pretend that women need help. But with men, it's just blatant work, wagey work.
Mm-hmm. Well, here is another one I found. I thought was looked good. It's Men and Mental Health. This is another one, and it says it's transforming the understanding of and treatment of mental illness. Now, see, I think that's part of the problem is that men tend to think of mental illness as something really, really bad, like dementia or different things like that, because a few times Bruce and I, during our movie reviews, right, I picked a movie called the one with Lars and the Real Girl. Okay. Now I picked it because I'm a woman, and the whole idea of him having that breakdown because his brother's wife was about to give birth, and when he was born, his mother died giving birth to him. And then his father became an alcoholic and blamed him this whole life as he grew up, that if it wasn't for you, I'd have my, whatever her name was. I can't remember his mother, basically. So he had a psychosis. He ended up snapping. And that's when he ordered that doll on the internet, not as a sex doll like most people would think. He would push her around and talk to her like she was a real woman. It was like he had a psychosis, and basically the movie is about how his church, his brother, and his sister-in-law, and the other people in his life that were friends with his mom and his dad all try to help him, because the psychiatrist is trying to get them to understand that he thinks she's a real doll, a real person, and he brought her in to fill that hole that he has, because he thinks that his sister-in-law is going to die when she has her baby. This kind of thing. It's like a mental illness. So they all come together to help him through his psychosis until he's able to let go of the doll, when he realizes that he doesn't need her anymore, that he's going to be all right. He's going to make it through this, that she's not going to die, that it's not his fault that his mother, that he didn't kill her on purpose. It was a medical issue, that type of thing. But the whole thing was really good. And Bruce didn't like the movie because when I showed him the trailer, he thought it was about a sex doll and it was going to be a comedy type thing, right? But I told him no. I said it's going to be about mental illness. But he couldn't connect it together. He didn't understand.
Yeah.
So when I talked about
that falls
the
right
review,
under the category of a movie. I'm sorry.
When I talked about the review and everything, that's when he started going, okay, it started sinking in about what I was saying, why I kept saying it's about mental illness. It's a movie about mental illness, because that's exactly what it is. If you're watching it and not expecting it, because there's a sex doll in it, which he never has sex with, right? It's just a really good movie if you want to understand mental illness and not make it a stigma, like it's something that can't be fixed, because it can be fixed. Most of it is stuff like what is in that movie. But depression can be really, really bad for men and women, for young and old. It's something that you can have it every month, basically, or every couple months, because of you're not getting enough rest, you're not eating well, and you got a lot of shitty friends. You know what I mean? People that aren't supporting, they don't support you. They're not there for you because they're not real friends. They're fair weather friends. And then you have real friends that may not be able to help you all the time because they're real busy too in their real lives. But when they are free, they they dive right in and they want to help you with whatever they can because they really do care about you. Those are the real friends that you want to keep a hold of because those will be there for you as long as you live, basically. As long as they're alive, they're going to be there for you. And I wish everyone had one, at least one.
Yeah. Do you remember the name of the actor from The Patriot? I can't remember the main character.
Mel Gibson?
Mel Gibson. There is a movie, I think it's called The Beaver. It actually is kind of like Lars and the Real Girl. He is a middle-aged man who has an absolute meltdown, just completely batshit crazy meltdown. He latches on to a sock puppet beaver. And he literally, I don't know when it starts in, but I wanted to watch the movie, never got to because my parents were, no. And at the time when it came out, I didn't have my own money. So at any rate, his mental dealt, but yeah, actually that's the second thing I want to talk about because that's also, if you ask me, a bit of a psyop. His conversation starts with, he just puts the beaver on his hand and goes, "Who are you?" "I'm the beaver." And he goes through the whole movie talking through the beaver. And people at first are really freaked out until they realize not only is he now himself, in a way, this beaver is also not psychotic like they were expecting it to be. This is actually a very normal, level-headed thing that came out of his head, which actually allowed him to get back to his job. He actually succeeded. I don't know how the movie ends, obviously, but it was played off that, yes, he has this breakdown, but it doesn't destroy him. He finds a way to cope with it. Partially because his family is, once again, I didn't see it, it's just the commercials, but it plays off his family is not initially supportive, but they see what it does for him. And in the case of, unlike Lars and the Real Girl, where he is slowly going away from reality, in this one, it's, from what I see in the commercials, it played off that he was snapped from reality and the beaver brings him back.
Yeah, that's basically what this one was about. He was staying in his garage apartment all the time. He would hardly ever come out except to go to work. Okay. Yeah. And when he was at work, one of the other guys at work was like, "Check this out." And he had his website with all these sex dolls and stuff. And it talked about, and it was, it was very risque because it was sex dolls. And he starts talking about it and saying stuff like that, about how he wishes he could afford to buy one. He's going to save some money and all, how about it's wonderful having a woman that never talks, that shuts up. All the same things, because that part was funny. But when he looks at it and he reads it, he's thinking in the back of his mind, I can get me a really good girl. And when he gets her, when he orders her and has her delivered, she's wearing all sexy, like real nighty lingerie stuff. But he reads her profile and then he tells his brother when he wheels her in the wheelchair that she's a missionary, right? And how she loves children and, all these different things because he got the little profile off of the website. So in him, it instilled that she was real, that she, for some reason, to help him cope with the snap that his sister-in-law is about to die as soon as she gives birth, Here's one. Here's another one. What Women Want. That's with Mel Gibson.
Yeah, someone was mentioning that earlier. Yeah, Mel Gibson was in What Women Want. Back up to a couple things up from this same dude. Women like to talk stuff. Men like to do stuff. That is actually, I'm actually agreeing with him when I say that's a psyop. That is actually something I dealt with when I tried modern therapy. My therapist literally tried to tell me that men and women have the same exact emotional range. Not entirely correct, but also not entirely incorrect. But what she also then tried to tell me is that men and women should express their emotions exactly the same, which is like a woman.
Yeah, that's impossible.
He is 100% correct. Women should express themselves like that. Men's therapy should involve physical labor of some kind. It really should. Yes,
but that's why you should be with that's why I really believe that men should be with men. So, as much as possible, this is another thing I try to tell people. When you're in a relationship, or you're about to get in a relationship, you both met, and now you're going to have your first date, right?
Yeah.
Whatever happens, once you start to have your journey between each other, don't cut out your friends. Okay. If you meet someone, a woman that says, well, I don't like your friends, you spend too much time with your friends, get away from it, because what attracted you to each other, right? Okay. Whatever it is that you guys were into, like me, I like to make crafts. I like to crochet. I like to make, rhinestone art. I like to build Legos. I do all those things, right? And maybe he likes comic books, or he likes to go to Comic-Con, something I'd like to do too. But just because he's going to go to a let's say he wants to go to a horror con, right? Well, I got a job, or I can't go. I should let him go. He used to go before I met him. Why would I say, oh, you can't go to those without me?
I will say that with a caveat.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that with a caveat. There is, once again, I have to say this, not because of you, but because of people watching this later. I don't even think it's the chat, honestly. I think it's people that could be watching this later.
Yeah.
Not all women, but there's a lot of women you cannot trust to go anywhere by themselves. But
I wouldn't want that woman then. Men. I wouldn't want to be.
But you get what I'm saying. Uh-huh. Now that is 100% true. But there is also I forgot what the phenomenon is, but it's an actual, like, I don't think it's a mental condition. I think it's like this weird phenomenon that happens in humans. It's not like every human, but when they're away from their significant other, all of a sudden they forget they have one. Like, actually forget. I know that sounds incredibly unrealistic, but there have actually been studies of both men and women who will come back and realize they're married and what they did and regret it. Mm-hmm. But they will swear the entire time, we'll say Vegas, the entire time they were there, they literally did not remember they had a significant other. So it's not just you, most of the time it is, but it's not just if they have that type of personality, don't be with them to begin with. Sometimes shit just happens. So in the end, it's not like I'm not saying don't let them go. I'm just saying not only make sure you can trust them. Here's a huge one, actually. Here's a better way of putting it. Make sure you can trust their friends. Because if you can't trust their friends, you can't trust them. If you can trust their friends, even if they're a little risque, chances are their friends will keep them on the right track.
Well, see, that goes right into what I was saying earlier about being friends. If you're friends, before you start having an intimate relationship, which means, going all out, if you know what I'm saying, you get to know their friends. Because wouldn't you want your girlfriend to invite a couple of her friends over if you're having like poker night or movie night? You guys are going to watch a movie or play pool or, whatever it is that you decide you want to do, going to hang out. You don't have to go places. See, I like stay-at-home dates more than anything, because you get to see each other in your natural environment. You know what I mean? You get to see them.
No offense, but that immediately made me think of a documentary.
Eating some of their favorite food, that kind of stuff. And with their friends, you can see how they really are, because it's hard to put on airs and say, I don't like to do those things or whatever when they're not with their friends. It's easy to pretend when you're not with people who see you every day. But if you're in a room with two of your friends sitting over there, and your boyfriend comes over, your new boyfriend, and you always talk like, I talk baby talk or whatever it is, and the girls are going, what the fuck? You're going to know that she's full of shit, right? Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. And I had one guy, I think it was Mac, he comes in the chat sometimes. He said something, I think it was him, that said a while back that on a first date, he would like to go to the water park, because at least he sees her in a bathing suit, so he knows what she looks like, right? But you got to remember, she gets to see you in a bathing suit too. So, That's what I'm saying. It's even.
Well,
But the thing is, these are great ideas because you really need to know what you're going for. Now, if you go to a bar and you're just picking her up because she's got big hooters or she's got long legs and she's wearing a little short, well, guess what? That's what you're getting. Okay, because you're going for her body. You don't care whether she has a mind. So you're going to get a nothing. You're not going to know shit about this person. Then you dive in and maybe she's real good in bed, but she's nuts or she's boring as hell or she's a drug addict or she's an alcoholic. You don't know because you already dove into something you didn't even know what you were going to get. You see what I mean? That's why I tell people, don't do it.
That's actually not the biggest. I mean, yeah, that's a big problem, and that's actually part of where women have their issues with men is because a lot of that is happening. But actually, a lot of what men have issue with women now, like myself included, is I'm not thrilled with the idea of raising another man's kid, but as long as that kid respects me, great, I'll do it. However, that is incredibly rare. And number two, you will find a woman who dresses modestly, talks modestly, acts polite, and then on the first date, orders $800 worth of food and then expects you to pay and then says you're a worthless piece of shit. That's not worth her time if you don't.
That's horrible. I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, all the women I know, I don't know a single woman that would ever do that.
Be glad. I mean, I do,
really don't.
But not. I do, but only because of where well, no, I can't say that's a lot of places that happen. It's where I live, it's rampant more than other areas, but that is because I live in a retirement community where most of the young men leave, which leaves women with two options. Settle for a guy who may or may not make money, since most of the jobs here that make money, you have to wait until the current holder dies, or just marry the old man who already has money.
Yeah.
That has built that mentality straight into the women in this area, unfortunately.
But I was thinking about this off and on all day. You know, I was taking notes and stuff. So I wrote down a few things and I thought, you know, I'm going to read them off to you and then you can tell me what you think about them. But I already shared something in the chat because I do this a lot. It says that if you or someone you know is experiencing suicidal thoughts or a crisis, please reach out. And I put a hotline in the chat already. I already did that. And I usually do it on all my streams because I think it's important that people have somebody to listen to them. But this is one thing that I wrote. This is one of the notes I wrote. It says, with so many homes with no father living under the same roof, we need more men to step up and help their nephews, cousins, and coworkers. Just listen and do your best to give some answers or just go for a walk or something. How can you help someone who seems to be depressed or becoming distant? That was one of the questions I wanted to ask. What would you think would help if you knew someone that seemed like they were pulling away or they just seemed like they weren't acting like themselves? What would you do for them? And what do you recommend that, you know, telling other people as a friend or as a guy, what would you recommend doing for them?
Well, as an individual who is the way he is, I'll look at his point of view as someone who's been there. What I would genuinely appreciate isn't just someone saying, hey, are you all right? Okay, great. I mean, I know it's a very womanly answer, but it also tends to be, in the case of mental health, a very male answer too, which is, yeah, I'm fine. So you have to press to a degree. Like you were saying, oh, if they want to open up, they will. I can tell you from my personal experience, if you want me to open up, you're going to have to press. Because I was told from a very young age as a man, unless someone shows genuine interest, basically pushes, they don't care. They're just being courteous. And it's not just like, and it wasn't ever played off like, well, they don't care. It's played off like, they don't care. They don't need to hear your problems. Do not pile that on them. And when you get raised like that, especially with a very, well, the male mindset to begin with, that just hammers home, this is not anybody's problem but mine. I shouldn't even why should I say anything? It's literally not your problem. I mean, and I don't mean that in a derogatory. I mean, like, why should I burden you with something that's not yours to deal with?
I don't know.
So,
but see, I don't see,
so
I didn't have a parent like that. I had a parent that was very hands-on. My dad was in the Air Force and he was gone a lot. Sometimes my dad would be gone 9 months to a year, depending on what his job was as a jungle survival instructor, and he would help train pilots and things like that how to live and survive if they crashed. But he'd be gone a lot. So my mother is the one that, even though we were girls, if she'd had a son, he would have been gone too. So she had to, take care of the yard. We had to, get us to school, cook, clean, all of those things. And I'm the same way. I felt like, I had to make sure that my house is clean, my yard is mowed. I've been doing for the last 5 days, I have been mowing, cutting limbs, and working on my duck and chicken enclosure. That's what I'm doing for 5 days and sweating like a pig because it's like 90-something degrees outside and humidity is like 80%. So I do it early in the morning, and then I come in, I take a hot shower or a bath, and then I'm like, oh, just dead, But I still have to do laundry and clean my house and, do whatever else, and then, get ready for work or whatever. It just depends on what, what's going on each day. But, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's so important to get to know other people, whether they're just going to be your friend or whatever, to know, what they're like on a normal basis, because how can you tell if your friend's depressed if you never spend any time with them? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You never have a conversation with them. You wouldn't know whether they're angry or happy or if that's how they are all the time. As I've learned, there's certain people that have one of those rough, gruff personalities, and they're like that every day. It has nothing to do with them being depressed or anything. That's just their personality. And then you have other ones that are just quiet. They're just more of a quiet person, but they're there. So that's why I really perk up when I don't see them. If I never see them in the chat anymore, I don't see them in Discord, or I don't see them posting something once in a while, then I start getting worried. Even if I don't hardly ever talk to them, you could talk to a lot of different people and just say, wow, yeah, Janet, she never shuts up, or she just never stops. But I can help it. I am me, and I'm not ashamed to be who I am. I work on trying not to be so annoying, but I am who I am. And
well, there is an excellent. This is like it was taken away off of my Pinterest as hate speech, literally stupid as fuck. Yeah. But it is an excellent example of how things are today. People, I can't remember exactly how it goes, but basically it goes to. You're raised to not bother people as a kid. Well, as an adult, you'll see a house on fire and say, well, somebody must have bothered, because somebody must have called by now. There's no point in bothering the police. And I can't remember them all, but it's a list along that kind of mindset. Yeah. And it's like, that actually describes me to a T. I was raised very much, you do not burden yourself with other people. If there's an emergency, don't be the guy who calls the police 10,000 times. Even though you probably should, and so on and so on and so on. Now, in this case, this could be like being born a man, but I think in this case, it's actually just my parents' mindset, because my sister's a little bit the same way. And it's not a healthy mindset. That is an anti-community mindset. I didn't think about it when I first seen the thing. I just saved it as a sad truth. After it was removed and I started thinking more about it and started watching more of this stuff like this video, and how, well, I don't know if he talks about it in this video, but I know in a couple of his videos when he talks about male loneliness and male depression, part of the problem is a lack of community that has been purposely pushed on us.
Yeah, I'm going to bring that other one back up again real quick.
Yeah.
Let's get it right here.
Because one of the things, like, when I really noticed how much a lack of community had been pushed upon people was my brother-in-law.
Mhm.
when he first showed up, had absolutely no concept of helping anybody, not even his own blood brothers,
Mhm.
just him, his wife, and his kids. He did not understand anything outside of that. It took him 4 or 5 years before he finally realized we live in a community dynamic up here. We don't live in a single family. We can't afford to.
Mhm.
But he was very much raised one family, one setting, like, or whatever, like the anti-community that a lot of people are starting to realize that it's been pushed on us. And that anti-community is far, far more hurtful than anyone ever could have predicted, except the people who tried to put it in place.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I also try to do to help, friends of mine, especially my guy friends that seem like they might need some help. I had one young man, he was new to my Discord, and he was started asking me questions, about he had a girl that he liked, and he wanted to know if, that and the other would help, or how he should talk to her, things like that. And he said that she was very like standoffish or whatever. So, I didn't ask him for any pictures or anything like that. I said, well, I started just talking to her for a little bit. So I told him, I said, well, have you ever wanted to just ask her if she wanted to go to the walk to the park or go feed the ducks? Because he told me there were ducks down at this one pond, things like that. So, come to find out, he's really heavy. He's a really heavy guy, and he really needed to lose some weight. So this is what I told him. I said, well, if you really want to impress her, start working on yourself. Start making yourself feel good about yourself, and then she will more likely notice it, that you're looking at yourself more, and wanting to better yourself, because a lot of women want a man that takes care of themselves, a guy that I'm not saying he's got to be a Stretch Armstrong, because I don't really go for guys that just stand there and they can't even put their arms down. I mean,
Yeah, well,
I've never been into that. Now I have a sister that she wouldn't date a guy unless he looked like that. I don't think that's very attractive.
That has unfortunately become what I think is like really sad is there is like this is how I do know that there is not like a straight consensus among women. It's just not the majority, I should say, like in this mindset, but it happens openly. The greatest majority of women will say 6-pack. Most of them still want 6 figures, but that's just we're not going to go there right at this moment. But 6-pack, 6 feet, things like that. Now, behind closed doors, most of them will still say 6 feet. Sad but true. But a good chunk of them will then turn around and say a dad bod is just fine. But openly, they'll scream 6-pack and a few other things that they'll kind of contradict later on. Why? Because that's literally the narrative. And I guarantee you, Janet, thanks to the fact that you have obviously not found those circles, if women were to if the quote-unquote real modern woman were to find you, you would be called a gender traitor, if not a straight race traitor, since some of them consider females as different race than men. Not even joking.
Yeah, I can believe it. I remember I have 4 sisters, and I was the middle daughter, and I was a tomboy. I was into comic books and G.I. Joes, all those things. So I can tell you right now, I understand what that's like to be thrown to the side for someone that's a knockout, right? Because I had 2 sisters, one above me and one below me. Even though both of them were shorter than me, because I ended up being tall and skinny, right, when I was in high school. And both of them were built like Mae West. I mean, they were real curvy, blonde, and, they like to tan a lot and all that stuff. Well, I would meet a guy, let's say at the rodeo or whatever, because I rode it, barrel race and stuff like that. I was really into horses and all that stuff. And they would, they said I was pretty or whatever. And then I bring him to my house. I want him to meet my mom or whatever. and they go, "Who's that?" Because they'll see one of my sisters on. I said, "That's my sister." Really? Next thing I know, they're not even calling me anymore. They're interested in my sister, either the older one or the one below me. So I lost lots of guys to my blonde sisters. So people kept saying, "Why don't you dye your hair blonde then? Once you dye your hair blonde, then they won't do that." And I go, "I'm not going to dye my hair. It takes forever. There's so much work into keeping your hair and your roots blonde." I just thought, nah, I'm not worried. If he doesn't like what I look like, then I don't really want a guy like that. But guess what? You get what you go for. If you go for girls because they have bleach blonde hair and they go, they act all like stupid or whatever, that's what you're getting. So don't expect more. And I had lots of guy friends, and they'd go for them girls. That's what they wanted, all the bimbos. So later on, when they were griping about how expensive they were, and they always want to do this, they always want to do that, and I'm like, well, that's what you want, that's what you're paying for. So you either get a girl that's down to earth like Marianne, or you end up with Ginger.
It's like, I will not leave the property. Well, I won't say I'm not looking. It's just, it's kind of hard to, when I know it's kind of, I'm got the odds stacked against me with where I live specifically, but nonetheless, I never leave my house unkempt, because I do not want to date a sloth. And I got this philosophy from, I don't know if you know the old CBS show, CSI.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the character Greg, he makes a comment about how he tried to get the goth chicks by dressing like goth and acting like one, and then he makes a very pertinent comment. If you act depressed to get chicks, you are going to get depressed chicks.
Yep.
So it's like, I don't know what that has to do with Men's Mental Health Month, but it's straight up like what you were saying though. It's like you are going to attract what you act like. So if you act like a stuck-up snob, you are going to get stuck-up snobs, especially if that's what you want.
I mean, the thing is, just like I said, their mental health has a lot of things that go around it. How you live your life, who you allow into your life, and how you feed yourself. Like fresh air, good food, exercise, plenty of sleep, and surrounding yourself with people that make you laugh. That's important, because if you spend all your time, like let's say your job is real stressful, whatever it is, and then you come home and your house is filled with yelling and screaming and arguing and people backstabbing each other and stuff, and you don't even want to go home, how are you ever going to get better? How are you ever not going to be depressed? That's what I'm saying. You have to work on you also. Start eating better, trying to get more sleep. What I started doing as a kid is I would get my dad, when he got out of the military, he started working as a safety manager guy at a chicken plant, right? And he came home with those little plastic packages with earplugs in them. So I just started wearing earplugs whenever, because I had, 4 sisters, and they were really loud. One's playing one music over here, and the other one's over there. And we had a 3-bedroom house with 1 bathroom. So it was like really crowded and loud. And I would just wear my earplugs, even when I wasn't trying to go to sleep. Like I'm in the living room, I'm trying to read, or I'm trying to do my homework, sitting at the dining room table. I just put my earplugs in, and it helped me focus, because I'm really bad about staying focused on one thing, especially if I hear something and it pulls me in over there, and then I can't focus on what I was working on. So that helped. So there's lots of things that you can do for yourself to help you get past whatever is going on with that other person that might be drawing you into their mess. And just because they're some people, I don't know, I'm trying to how to explain it. A person might have a lot of problems simply because of how they live their life. If you're a person and all you do is bitch and complain about everything, people don't want to be around you. So when they see you coming, they're going to try to make an excuse to leave. So if you have a lot of people making excuses around you just to get the hell out of Dodge, then maybe you should look in the mirror and say, what do I need to change to make people want to be around me? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just like I said, it takes work sometimes. That's what I said about myself. I've been, when I first started going through some of my problems, I started focusing on me. I started working out. I started trying to eat better. And I started minimizing, things around in my own life, like not working every job that came available, because I wanted to have at least 1 or 2 days a week, or like Mondays and Tuesdays are usually my days where I focus on doing laundry and things like that to kind of stay not planted. I don't know what the word is, where you stay level, connected to your home.
We usually use the term centered
your
around
responsibilities, like that. So I tell other people, maybe you should try that. Try saying 1 day a week, I'm not going to do anything with anyone. It's a me day where I'm going to go work out, go for a walk, take a hot bubble bath, whatever, watch a movie and eat popcorn, whatever it is. Give yourself 1 day a week where you just spend the day for yourself and take your life back and become you again. And that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to focus on the things I like, getting back to my nerd stuff, because everyone I was with, they hated Comic-Con. They hated comic books. They don't like any of that stuff. And I'm like, I'm giving up all the things that I like because they want to go to a football game, or they want to go to this and they want to do that. And I'm always doing stuff for everyone else. And I quit doing anything for myself. And it can make you depressed. And I just said, I'm losing myself. I'm not me anymore.
Man or woman, never do that.
That's right. It doesn't matter. Love yourself, because if you love yourself and you work on loving yourself and staying in love with yourself, I'm not talking about a big head and being ego. Look at me, I'm so good. I'm talking about looking in the mirror and saying, you know what? I got some wrinkles, or I got some gray hairs, or whatever. I'm a little skinny, or I'm a little heavy, but you know what? I'm a good person. And I'm good to people, and I'm a good friend. I'm all these good things, and build yourself up. You deserve it,
Janet,
especially if you're doing all those things.
There is a couple videos.
Oh,
sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Well, there's a couple of videos I wouldn't mind talking to you about, like in the future.
Yeah.
Both of them are shoe on head videos, where, of course, you've seen her. She kind of makes jokes, but she does 2 really excellent videos: the nice guy problem and the nice girl problem. I would love to discuss with you. It's exactly what it sounds like.
Why don't we set it up and watch it in Discord? One of them, because then we can watch it. And then
if I known we could have watched this video today, I would have discussed. Well, I couldn't have because I was busy, but I would have discussed with you about the potential of watching it in Discord before, so it was a little bit more fresh in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really good video, and you could tell he was very emotional about it because it meant something to him.
Oh yeah.
And when you have someone like that getting upset because he couldn't share how important it was to be able to take care of yourself and to work with other people to help other people that are having problems, that might be wanting to commit suicide, or all the other things that he had going on his website. Okay, because that's what I got up there right now is his site, his actual place where you can go and watch these videos and stuff, depending on what it is that you're looking for. And he just seems like, he's a real man, and he's not ashamed to be a real man, to feel like a man and to act like a man. Okay, you know what? I'm a tomboy, but it sure is nice when a gentleman opens the door for me, and I say thank you. I've opened the door for a few gentlemen myself too. And I said, here you go. And I'd open, and they go, well, thank you. And I said, you're very welcome. And that's important too. Saying thank you again. Oh, so many people are so rude when it comes to stuff. I've seen grown men go into a restaurant area, where sometimes they say, well, it's going to be a 30-minute wait. They'll tell you because it's busy or whatever for that dinner, like at Western Sizzlin', or I'm trying to think of there was another place that I've gone a few times where it was busy like that. And you're standing there and you look around the room because you can't help yourself, right? You get to look around and you see 3 men sitting down, and then you see a little old lady just standing there with her cane. And I keep going, wonder one of the men going to get up and let one of that lady sit down. That's what I'm thinking. And they don't. Not one of them. They all sat there. And that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I will agree that there are women out there who deserve that. A little old woman, chances are very, very high she is very traditional. Therefore, she's not among the problem women. Give her your seat.
But the women standing around, because I stood there, but I didn't expect anyone to move for me because I'm younger, I'm capable of standing there. And it wasn't bothering me, but it made me feel bad for the lady that no one would sit. And if I had a seat, I would have got up, and I really would have made those men look bad then, right? Yeah. But no one got up. No one. I'm not just blaming those 3 guys. Not one person sitting. Yeah. Not one person gave that lady a seat. And I would have if I had a seat. But the thing is, that's what I'm talking about in society. Like he was talking about, you have people that that get bothered because you have a problem and you're trying to help people with it. You see what I mean?
Yep.
The people would turn them in or make a post saying that this guy is making me feel uncomfortable because of what he's talking about. Instead of going into another space, she wants to make sure he doesn't have one. See what I mean? Yeah. That's part of the problem. And the same thing when you go into any of these places and you see people on a bus or a trolley or whatever, and they're too anal to even bother to get up and let someone have their seat, because they already said it's maybe a 30-minute wait, so it's not going to be that long for the gentleman to have to stand up. But it was just it was disheartening. And then I'm looking around and I'm seeing other women looking and a couple guys, but they're standing, so they can't get their seat either, noticing that these 3 men that were sitting together on the bench, that just sat there and look around like, none of my problem. It's not my problem. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But that's sad. That's where we are right now after I think COVID and some of the other things that we've had happening.
Oh God, COVID broke people in ways we never thought would be possible.
Yeah, I think it's really damaged. It's damaged the hands-on part of our lives, where people would reach out and help other people normally by saying hello or whatever. People just don't say hi or anything. They just kind of walk around and ignore everyone else around them because I don't know. I think it changed society a little bit by everybody wearing masks and people being afraid to go near anyone else, that type of thing. I never did it. I wore a mask a couple of times, and that was because I went to a doctor's office or whatever. And I remember the first time I went to the doctor's office because I had an appointment. I was supposed to get some blood tests because it was when I first found out I think I had allergy problems, and I did, but I went in to get the blood, and I went up to the door, and there was a lady, a nurse out there, and she had a little table with some hand sanitizer, and she had masks laying on the table, and she had one of those things they put on your forehead to check your temperature. And I said, what's going on? She goes, well, we got to make sure that you're not sick. And I said, oh, everyone should be sick if they're going to the doctor. I thought it was funny, so I kind of made up a joke. But I put some hand sanitizer on, which is fine because I have allergies. So I can touch stuff all the time. It makes my hands itch because if they have, the wrong lotion or perfume on it. It could make me itch. But she handed me a mask, and I go, I have to wear a mask. And she said, well, you're supposed to wear a mask. They want you to wear masks. And I said, but I'm not sick. That's what I told her. I said, I'm just going to get some blood. And she said, she just looked at me. She didn't know what to say. And she put that thing on my forehead to see if I had a fever. And she goes, well, you don't have a fever. And I said, I told you I'm not sick. And she goes, well, if you have a fever, then we wouldn't let you go in because we're telling them. I said, all someone has to do is take Tylenol before they come, and they're not going to have a fever. But guess what? They're sick. That's what I was telling her. So, I'm such a bossy, know-it-all or whatever sometimes, but I just didn't understand because to me it didn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Especially at the doctor's office. But I never did have COVID. I even got tested one time. I had a blood test, and I never had COVID. So I'm gonna knock on wood to make sure that never happens or whatever. But I didn't wear a mask.
I praise the people who never got a fucking shot.
So
my sister had lung issues, so like thought we were just being courteous for her, then to come to find out years later, oh yeah, they're all bullshit.
Yeah, but the thing is, you went by what your doctors told you. So it's not your fault.
Yeah, that is technically true. It just I'm part of the reason why I'm so upset about it is because literally ever since I got the COVID shot, I consistently get a urinary tract infection every single year at around October to November. Consistently.
That's terrible.
So it's like, yeah, no, I'm literally living proof they were just playing with fucking random ass chemicals.
Well, I hope they get to the bottom of it and we figure out, what happened and why, all that stuff. But the thing is that if you have any problems or if you know of anyone that's depressed or is acting depressed, encourage them to go see someone. There's nothing wrong with it. You shouldn't be ashamed that you might be having problems because everyone has them. Okay. And just because you're a guy doesn't mean that you shouldn't get the help that you need. I mean, if it was your guy friend, if it was your dad, or if it was your grandpa or your brother, you'd be wanting them to get some help. So why would you not want help for yourself? And I always tell people this too. How can you take care of your dad or your brother or your whoever, your mom, if you're sick?
Yeah.
To take care of yourself. And that way you can help other people because you are better.
Speaking of taking care of yourself, I'd like to give a little piece of advice to my single friends out there. If her profile involves, especially if it does all of them, I am anti-feminist. That's not a huge red flag, but it can be. Let's see here. Oh yeah, so what was it? I am anti-feminist. I will put out at any time, but I expect it in return. I am bipolar. I can block you at any time. I am not like other girls, and a list along that lines. Do not go charging into all those red flags like a bull.
Yeah, I don't.
I know you're lonely. I'm lonely. I'm not that stupid. Please do not put your dick in crazy. You can't fix her.
We can barely fix ourselves.
You can really give her post-nut clarity, but that's it.
100%. But yeah, if you want, do you have any other websites besides the one gentleman that you'd like to share?
I probably should have prepared better. I didn't prepare good enough.
That's okay.
I will say, Shoe on Head. She is quote unquote a leftist. I have to agree with her. Her viewer poll. She's center. She claims claims left, but she's center, straight up. If she likes it or not, I will recommend her because she does genuinely not only care about men's health, She cares about women's health. She cares about the bad messaging both men and women are being pushed upon both men and women. But she does it in a way that makes it not only a way you can absorb it that makes sense, but it also, she does it in a lighthearted manner that more makes fun of how stupid people are being than the subject itself. So it's easier to take in a lot of that stuff to really understand what's going on. And if there's, I won't heavily recommend him because he is full-blown misogynist, but Taylor the Feed, because he also tells it like it is. But with that said, when praise is to be given, he gives it. An excellent example is a woman who comes home from every day from work and does the dishes while her husband does all the house chores. This isn't the problem. He immediately goes to the comments and people bitching her out for not making her husband do the chores. All the chores. Well, here's the thing. For her, the dishes are a de-stressor. That's how she relieves her stress from the day. As Taylor says, that is her priority. That is her prerogative. If you don't like it, that's not her problem. She is the breadwinner. She gets to make that decision. Like I said, he is a misogynist, but he does give credit where credit is due.
Yeah. I was going to share this. It says, hey there. Hey, here's a tip. Guys talk better when you are shoulder to shoulder, doing or watching someone. It says, if you expect them to look at you and open up, it often won't happen. Yeah, that's why I constantly say that if it's in a relationship or for a relationship, to start your relationship and become friends with the other person. That way, more than likely, if you stay friends, which means communication, you have to talk to each other, right? That you'll be able to say, you know, something's not right. You're not acting right. Did I say something wrong? Did I do something? And they'll say, no, it's not you. It's at work. But see, it starts a conversation. See? And but you'll know that because you paid attention and you notice that something's not, that they're not acting normal or acting the normal that you're used to having around, right? And the same for them. They would notice if you were acting out of character. And that's why it's important to be friends. And I want to emphasize the fact that if it's your brother or your dad or you know, someone, a coworker that you see a lot or any of that, to tell them, you know, it's okay to you know, have problems. You're only human. You know what I mean? And go get some help. Go find someone to talk to. Get online, research it, look up what you think you might need, that type of thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, start working out. You know, start walking. Get some more exercise. Try to change your diet. If you know that you're drinking, you know, 20 Diet Cokes a day, cut it in half. Only drink half.
Cut it in less than half. Dear God. 20
yeah,
is
I know.
actually like
I know someone who drinks 4 what are those Diet Cokes every day. 4. I think that's filled with aspartame. That's what I tell them. You know, that kills rats in laboratories. And they're like, you're such a horrible person. I said, I don't drink soda pop anymore when I found out about that.
It's like I do know the studies, and yes, aspartame is it's kind of a catch-22 because here's the thing about aspartame. It is not what is it? It's a cumulative at any rate. It is literally an accumulative toxin.
It gathers in your body
properly. The more you drink it throughout your life, the more it's going to build in your system.
Yeah.
Aspartame in small, if you take it in small doses, it's fine. But here's also one of the things that makes aspartame so fucking scary in and of itself. If I remember correctly, it's a blood thinner. I know, I don't remember for a fact that this is. I know it's very scary for how it's used, but in the factor where aspartame is used as a poison, it's not just used as a sweetener; it's actually used as part of the poison.
Yeah, see, I don't like diet anyways. If I'm going to have anything, I always wanted real sugar, you know, cane sugar, because it was better for you than all these fake sweeteners. But the reason I stopped drinking soda wasn't because I thought it was going to help me lose weight, because every woman that I know that stopped drinking soda didn't lose a pound. But guys who stopped drinking soda pop lost tons of weight. I don't know why it affects women different than men, but from everything I've seen, it does. The reason I stopped drinking it is because I saw a video that they took, I think it was for an elementary school video, and they had a bottle of Coca-Cola, and they took some rusty old bolts and dropped them down in the bottle and shut the top. Okay, and they just left it for a month.
Oh, yeah.
Then when they went back, there was no rust on the ones that were really rusty, and some of them had completely dissolved. That was just from Coke. And I'm like, just think about it. If you're drinking that every day, what is it doing to the inside of your body and your teeth?
I know that was actually not entirely faked. Well, here's the thing. That was actually a false video. Coca-Cola cannot destroy metal. But the reason why it removes rust is because it actually has, I forgot what it is, but it is actually a cleaning chemical that is capable of getting in and beneath rust. You combine that with carbonation, it actually removes rust quite well. Now, people like the whole month later thing, I don't know, but it doesn't just make metal dissolve. However, the point where they actually use a cleaning chemical that is used in cleaners to remove rust is in the original formula. I don't know if they still use it. In and of itself is still bad enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I actually stopped drinking soda too, but not even disgust reasons. It's like, am I drinking this because I drink it, or am I drinking because I actually like it? I stopped drinking it. I don't miss soda. 40 pounds later.
The thing is, I drink cranberry juice, cran apple juice, water, and I love lemonade. I love lemonade. So that's one of my favorite drinks, and sweet iced tea. I do like, my mom was a Texan, so
yeah. Well, my primary drink to this day is what it's always been, even back when I was drinking soda, which is water. But that's because it actually has a name. I forgot what it is though. A lot of people are like, oh well, humans are always thirsty. Yeah, no. Do you always have cotton mouth? Do you literally always feel like you need to have liquid drinking something to the point that you might feels like if you explode if you don't pace yourself?
Mm-hmm.
No, then no, you don't know what I'm going through. So I am literally, and the only thing that makes that thirst go away is drinking water. I like coffee, I like energy drinks, but I have to mix in a healthy amount of water. Otherwise, I just feel dry, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, see, I take, I did allergy shots for 5 years, and some of them were really bad. And I still have to carry an EpiPen because I am allergic to bees. But, taking decongestant makes me thirsty.
Oh, yeah.
So
if it wasn't for the fact that I don't come into contact with a off-brand Play-Doh called Fundo and bleach very often, I would have to have an EpiPen too, because both of those make me swell like a balloon.
Yeah. Well, see, like today, or the last couple of days, I've been mowing and working my yard, and I just keep my EpiPen on me, just in case because I got 4.5 acres. So,
that's more than enough for a beehive to.
Yeah. If I get a bee that lands on me or whatever, I might not make it to the house, I still have to jab it in my leg. So it's like, it really sucks. But I haven't been stung by a bee, I must say, knock on wood, since I was 10, when I remember getting stung by a bee, and I got bit right here on my hand, and my hand looked like a baseball mitt, and it went past my elbow, and I couldn't bend my arm. It was like stuck out like that, but my skin started splitting open. It was so fat, and my mom took me to the emergency room because she was just really worried about it. And he told me that to try not to get stung by a bee again, because if that's my first reaction, I need an EpiPen. So ever since then, I've had one, and they're very expensive. I was really shocked how expensive they were. So I try to make sure I take care of it and keep it available because you never know. You could be driving down the road and a bee gets in your car and you get stung.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I just carry it with me, and I mow, and I still do everything I normally would do. It's just that I got to make sure I have my pin with me.
It would seem that Jess understands my thirst problem. It's too bad about coffee. I actually enjoy coffee.
Yeah, I only can drink a half a cup, once a day, because
Yeah.
it makes me have jittery. I get kind of jittery or whatever.
I usually only drink about a measuring cup's worth of coffee in a day, just because that's how much I drink. I don't guzzle the coffee. For me, Connell loves to say, if you have a kid with ADHD, just give them coffee. That doesn't always knock them out. I'm proof of that. I have ADHD, but caffeine also doesn't have much of an effect on me. Like the energy drinks, they don't give me a boost of energy because of the caffeine. In fact, caffeine really has no effect on me. It's
really?
all the other shit. Yeah.
Wow.
I can literally, and I have on more than one occasion, drank an energy drink right up till bed, rolled into bed, immediately passed out.
Man, I
have
wish I could do
ADHD.
that.
But that's because caffeine has literally no effect on me. I drink anything with caffeine for in the case of energy drinks because the other things that come in it, which means I also don't get the energy boost a lot of other people get.
Mhm.
Or in the case of coffee, just because I like the flavor.
Well, I love coffee. I love the flavor of it. And a couple of times I've drank decaffeinated coffee and put a little bit of that Irish cream in it.
Oh yeah.
Really good. But if I drink a cup of coffee or half a cup, like this time at night, I would be up all night. I won't be able to sleep. Yeah. I just get real like antsy or whatever that word is. And if I wake up after, let's say I drank a cup of coffee later, like after dinner or something, and then I went to bed at 9 or whatever, and then I wake up like at 1 a.m, I can't go back to sleep. So it really sucks. So that's why I try really hard. Even sometimes I smell coffee and God, it smells so good. It just makes you want some because you want some because it tastes good. So I try not to be around anyone that's drinking it, like because it makes me really want it. And the best way to say no is just to not be around it. You know what I mean? That way you're not tempted or
You can ask
whatever.
a question, Janet.
So, yeah.
Not by me. We chat.
Oh, in there. Okay, let me bring it up. Often have your live streams around this time. Well, it depends. I've have some shows that start at 8, and then I have some that start at 9. And then on Saturday when we do our game, we start around 1 in the afternoon, and then go for like 6 to 8 hours.
She's in Texas time, just so you know.
Oh, so it's Central Time, same as me.
No, I was telling Jess this. I don't know where Jess is.
Oh, I thought you were saying she was. Yeah, I'm in Arkansas, so I'm in Central Time. But and let's see, on Sunday we do a movie review, and we start around 3:30 Central Time. So it just depends. And then I play a couple other games. On Monday night, every other Monday night. So it's all different times. So you never know. I try to post it on my channel whenever I'm going to have something, but it's just whatever. So who knows? But the thing is, if you can't get me live, at least you can, watch a video, whatever, if it's anything it's interesting that you like. But yeah, I have some friends in Florida. So I think that's an hour ahead of me. So not too bad.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for hanging out with me. We've been going at it for over 2 hours. But I really appreciate it. And the next time you have one, we'll try to plan to watch it in Discord. If we watch it during the day, earlier in the day, that way we can talk about it later on. Do that. But Thursday night, I love having interesting stuff like this to talk about. I've been lucky enough to have Chris join me a few times because he goes to Washington D.C. a lot, and you know how I am about politics, and he's always got something that he knows what's going on or whatever interesting stuff to talk about. I shocked him last week when I did Cosmic Chat, because he doesn't believe in, any of that stuff. He doesn't believe in, aliens or nothing, but I do. I do believe in that stuff. So I asked him if he wanted to join me. So I had a skeptic on with me when I was talking about all that stuff. But it's fun, and keeps me busy, keeps me out of trouble when I'm doing this kind of stuff. But thank you so much for sharing that video with me. It's really, really good, and he's a good guy. And I'm glad that you're listening to him. And now that I have his, I got my notes over there. I got his channel on here. I'll share it with other people, with other men that I feel like, need a good mentor, someone a real manly man, because that's what he is. He's a macho man. He's a guy that's not ashamed to be a man and likes doing guy stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. My dad was like that. My dad was a jungle survival instructor. He taught men how to survive out in the jungle with nothing but a knife, yes, and maybe a flint, he's got there. And he had 5 girls. So, that was really sad. I told my dad, I said, when I got old enough to understand what was going on, I told him, I said, well, I think you were cursed by God. And he said, what do you mean? I said, you were probably a womanizer, because he was the youngest out of his 7 siblings, and his dad was a pastor. So I said, you probably were a real handful. That's why God gave you $5. But I go, but he gave me to you because I needed a man that would be hands-on with me since I was a tomboy, and he loved taking me camping and fishing and stuff. So that was good. I'm glad I got to spend a lot of time with my dad without my sisters, you know what I mean? Because they didn't want to do that stuff. So I am glad. I'm very lucky. I'm very, very privileged, I feel, to have that kind of relationship with your dad, and get to see a different side of a man where he's actually hands-on helping me and stuff. And my mom didn't really like doing that stuff either. She liked some things, but not as much as my dad did. So I love doing it. It's great. So do you have anything else you want to add before we leave?
Live, laugh, love, hate only those who deserve it, and don't listen to someone when they say you should hate someone. Make your own opinion. That's
right. Good one. I love all of that. I'm always saying that, make your own decisions. If you see something online that doesn't mean it's real, okay, research everything, trust but verify. That's what I try to tell people. So just remember to do that, whatever it is. It doesn't matter if it has anything to do with religion, politics, health, new movie coming out. You go look it up yourself. That's what the internet's all about. I mean, you can find anything you want. All you got to do is go spend 5-10 minutes trying to find out for yourself what it's all about. That's it. It's that simple. But thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us in the chat. And I hope anyone that watches this goes and checks out the links, because I always do the chat replay. I try to, so that you can see everything that I put in here, because I try to share all the links of anything we talk about, because I think it's important that everyone who sees it goes and looks it up for themselves. So but you guys have a wonderful night, and thank you very much. Talk to everybody later. Bye.
Good night.
American COVID-19 vaccine deaths, it ranges from about 470,000 from Pfizer alone up to 840,000 American deaths from the COVID-19 vaccines. We have to remember that that is rivaling the American soldier death toll of World War I, World War II, Vietnam, and the Iraq War combined.